Dun, 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 dun. Insert theme music here. Insert theme music here. All right. Welcome to Merriwether's World, episode 82. I am your host, Dr. Mark Merriwether Vorderbergen, talking to you live from in front of a giant goldenrod. Just kidding. Green screen, which is going to cause a problem later on, but you'll just have to hold on and see. All right. For those of you who don't know me, I am the creator of Foraging Texas website, author of Idiot's Guide Foraging, monthly article writer for Charmy's Texas Foraging, all sorts of stuff. Everything is centered around the Foraging Texas website, though. From there, you can go to my YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, hundreds, and I actually plural, hundreds of different edible plants found not only in Texas, but really all around North America. Okay. I guess I can put up links to these things, shan't I? Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, well, that's okay. We'll get to that in a bit. So, yeah. There we go. All right. Those of you asking if I do live classes, yes, going back, I should have left it there. Of course, to the Foraging Texas website down here, the upcoming classes, click on that, and it will bring forth upcoming classes. So the end of the year, we're getting a little thin. So we got some in December, and then we jump into February, and then we get some more going on. Happy to announce that in April of 2021, I should be at the San Antonio Botanical Gardens doing some classes there for them. So cool. All right. Back to me. Other housekeeping stuff. We saw the classes, upcoming classes. Of course, I have to throw out Medicine Man. Well, not throw out. I have to offer up to you, of course, Medicine Man Plant Co. So check this out. This is my company. Can I reach a bottle? Those of you who join me at the morning, we got a series of different things out now through the Medicine Man, Ancient Plants for Modern Issues. Okay, lots to talk about tonight. So normally I'd be yelling out greetings to my loving fans as they show up, but I got to tell you, lots to do. So we'll probably not be doing that as much. In fact, moving forward into the future, a lot of it, Donut Shop, big hugs. Merriwether's World, trying to crank through information really fast. So don't feel bad if I don't yell out hi. Okay, there is a good question here though. Okay, Deanna, how strenuous are your classes for people with bad knees? So that ties into a question I get a lot. How far do we walk during the classes? 1 mile, 2 miles? Honestly, in a 4-hour class in a good location, maybe 500 feet. There's a lot of plants out there, and a lot of people don't realize how many plants are out there and how many of the plants they see are edible or medicinal. Probably one of the places I walk quite a distance at would be the Spoke Hollow Outfitters class out in Austin. And there we might go half a mile, not even, more like a quarter of a mile. So yeah, not very far. And I do all the bending and crouching and standing and squats all class long. So if you can't squat, not a problem. I squat for you. So yeah. Okay. What else? All right. Did I put the, okay. So I already did the Medicine Man. I just got to throw up the other ways you can help out, keep these things going on, these classes. So yeah, Okay, sorry. I'm talking to StreamYard here. So yeah, just I got the Idiot's Guide Foraging. Just a reminder. Wow, cool effect. Woo woo. Yeah, the Idiot's Guide Foraging. I don't actually get royalties from this, so the only way I earn any money from this nowadays is if you buy it specifically from the Amazon store that I created, and I get 79 cents, which is totally awesome. Okay, so I just put up the link to the Idiot's Guide Foraging, and wait a moment and try again. Try this again. The Amazon store, Idiot's Guide Foraging. If you want to wear cool Foraging Texas apparel, there is the Cafe Press Foraging Texas store, things like that. Okay. Oh yeah. Your cat has been to my classes. Yeah. More often than not, you're able just to sit there as I, bend and squat and pull up things. So yeah, if you have bad knees and just want to sit, that works well too. So definitely that. Okay, thank you, Kat. Last thing I want to throw out. So 2 sponsors I already threw out. Let me do this. We go here, click. We go here, click. So big sponsor, Uncommon Bees. And I want to put them up right away because normally if you use the Forking Weeds secret Foraging Texas greeting Forking Weeds, you get a 10% discount. But on nights of the show, so Thursday nights, between the start of the show and 9:30, so a half hour after the show ends, if you, use the Forking Weeds coupon code, you get 25% off their stuff. And I got to tell you, they got a lot of stuff. They are the premier honey producers around. They have all sorts of different infused honeys with herbs and spices and medicinal plants and CBD and all sorts of amazing things like that. So check them out. I know a lot of you are already have been turned on by them, and well, you know what I mean, are know the magic of Uncommon Bees. So jump on them. And then the other the herbs, Ricardo Derek Shilly Shelly. And same sort of thing. If you buy anything from his in-person or online herb shop, if you use Forking Weeds, you get a 15% discount between now and midnight. So, yeah. And so he has all sorts of raw herbs and dried herbs. He'll also set up a Zoom call with you and work out based on what issues you have. He'll custom blend something for you. So very, very, very awesome. I've known Derek Ricardo for a long time. Totally vouch for him. He's the one that supplies me with my Battle Mage tea. Okay. I have to tell you, I've been furious all day long. So the medicine man, we use a toll manufacturer. Actually, we use 2 toll manufacturers out in California. That's where I was last weekend to actually make the stuff. Because the putting it in the bottles and putting the seal and all that stuff, that's not something I can do at home. So we use them, and we just had 2,000 bottles of our new product, the Libido pill. Wow. Anyway, and then so there were all sorts of delays in making it, and then they finally finished it, and then the day we left, they were shipping it out, and we have no idea where they shipped it to. They put the wrong address on it, sent it out, no effing clue where it is. So 2,000 bottles of our stuff is lost somewhere, so things are still delayed there, but inner calm. Okay. So, but you're not here to learn about medicine man. You are here to learn about goldenrod. Yay, goldenrod. Where did I put my... Oh, well. Okay, so let's talk about goldenrod. And I got to start by... So those of you who don't know, this is goldenrod here. But let me start by saying goldenrod is not ragweed. Goldenrod is not ragweed. There are certain factoids that drive foragers up a wall. And one of them is people going, oh, that's ragweed. I have a terrible allergy to that. Okay. You might have an allergy to ragweed. It's it's very likely that you can have a ragweed an allergy to ragweed. And let me just, I got to do some screen sharing here. Share screen. There we go. Share. Okay. So let me bring up some pictures of ragweed here. So this is ragweed, and these little green bumps you're seeing along the plant, those are the flowers. They are inconspicuous. Most people do not recognize those as flowers. But while the ragweed is flowering, the big, beautiful goldenrod flowers are flowering too. And so whereas ragweed is a wind-pollinated plant, so it is, trying to bring this over here. While the ragweed is pumping, pounds and pounds of pollen into the air just to be dispersed, hopefully it will luckily land on some other ragweed and pollinate it. The pollen of goldenrod behind me is sticky and is only transferred by bees and butterflies and other insects. So to develop a goldenrod would require you to have stuck your face in goldenrod and basically rubbed it on your face at just the time when there was pollen, and then inhale some of the pollen when you're already fighting some other illness. So your immune system goes, oh, goldenrod pollen. This is a bad thing. I must destroy it too. So, yeah. I would say if you want to avoid the extremely rare chance of developing a goldenrod, don't shove it up your nose. Just a thought. So, and just popping over here again, I want to show, so some more ragweed. Ragweed has this deeply lobed sort of leaf thing going on here. It's a small plant. It's only about 2 feet tall, whereas a ragweed can be 9-10 feet tall. And just one more. So, and then like here are some more of the ragweed leaves. Now in a second, I'm going to show you actual ragweed, or sorry, actual goldenrod, and you will see it doesn't look anything like this. So yeah, here's one more picture of the ragweed. So this, in this picture, you can kind of start to see where this might cause a problem. Whew. Okay, so very important. Goldenrod is not ragweed. So let us jump to, oops, I got to bring it over here. This, and now I need to turn off for a moment the green screen. Well, let me show you why. Here, I'm putting this up. So, ta-da! Ragweed, goldenrod. Now you got me saying it. But yeah, so here's goldenrod, and because of the green color of the goldenrod, it's acting like its own green screen. So give me a second here. Let me just turn that off. Okay. Oh, isn't that boring? Okay, but here I am. So here we have some goldenrod, and I'm going to drip water all over my computer. So let me just put that there. Okay. So as you can see, the goldenrod leaves are not lobed. So let's look at goldenrod and some identifying characteristics of the goldenrod, especially at a time when the flowers aren't present, because frankly, the leaves, in my opinion, are way better than the flowers for pretty much anything you're going to do with goldenrod. Okay, so the leaves, as you can see, these are what we would call lancelet, or think of like a lance head, spearhead. So they're long and narrow. They're drippy because they're coated with water. The vein pattern, let me just, I don't know if I can do this here. Focus. So the vein pattern is pinnate, where you have one center vein and then all the other veins branch off that. The edges, depending on the species of goldenrod, generally will be what's called intact or entire, where there are no teeth or serrations or bumps or lobes around the edge of the leaf. It's just one smooth sort of leaf edge there. No bumps, no serrations, no teeth, no lobes. The leaves and stem are bald. They don't have any hairs. So as opposed to the mimic horseweed, which is very hairy. Okay, so Chad, it really depends some. So on the leaves, there are very, very fine leaves. Very, very fine hairs, and they are pointing like an elm tree. The leaves on the wow, my mind is not. I'm still steaming inside. Sorry, I'm not at my normal calm state tonight. Calm state. Well, you know what I mean. Okay, so if you've been in my classes or been around me and elm trees, I always have you feel the elm tree. If you run your hand from the base of the leaf out to the tip, it feels relatively smooth. So from the base down to the tip. But if you go backwards, it becomes sticky. And what's going on there? There's a bunch of hairs, short, brittle hairs that are all pointing towards the tip of the leaf. So when you run along it, along the direction the hairs are pointing, it feels smooth. But if you turn around and go backwards, it feels vaguely rough because now the little stiff hairs are resisting your movement. Okay, and hopefully you can see that. Let's see, how can I tilt this here? Okay, there we go. The leaves themselves are alternating. So they are zigzagging up the stem or spiraling up the stem. They are not gravity. Not my night. Yeah, the leaves are not opposite each other, if that makes sense. So, okay. The flowers, I guess I should have kept this out. So now I'm going to drip water everywhere again. Let me just try and... Okay. So if we look at the flowers when they're blooming, they start, the oldest blooms will be up at the top, and then the youngest unopened ones usually will be at the bottom. As they mature, maybe if I leave it in the thing here. As the flowers mature, can we focus here? Yeah, there we go. They get kind of fuzzy, almost like the dandelion flower, seeds. But if we also look at them, the flowers, you see they're only along one side of the stem. Let me see that there. They're not in a circle around the stem. So as they get bigger in the top, it looks like they're completely around the stem. But you will see one side has flowers and the other side has stem. So, okay. General identification, there you go. Height, like I said, they can get 9 feet tall. Thomas Edison bred some to be over 12 feet tall, and there's an important reason why he bred them to be 12 feet tall, which we'll talk to about in a second here. So, there's a good question from Matt. When do these go to seed? I gather a ton and sprinkle in my bee yard. Frankly, they are, at least in the Houston area, they are, this week is when they've started going to seed. So you can collect the seeds right now. So let me just put this up here again. So I don't know how well you can see it there, but the little puffy things, you just take those and plant those in your yard. Also, the goldenrod spreads by runners. And so the root, just digging up the root and planting the root will often be a successful way of transplanting the plant. Okay. Because I like the green screen, I'm going to bring the green screen back. Green screen. There we go. Okay. Okay. Here's a great question, and we'll jump on this. Okay. Is there a best time to forage? Yes. Basically, from the point when the young goldenrod is about a foot tall until it flowers. So the nice thing about the goldenrod, well, we're going to jump around some. This one's for you, Uncommon Bees. So generally, I try and limit my harvesting and using of the flowers of the goldenrod, because the goldenrod is generally the last flower of the season, of the fall, before winter sets in. So it's the last source of nectar and pollen for the bees. So they're stocking up for the winter using the goldenrod. And so I figure the bees are a little more important than anything I plan on doing with the flowers. So we'll just let the bees have the flowers. But because of the way I harvest it earlier in the year, I increase the number of flowers. So as the goldenrod is growing, it is a single stem. So it's just a single stem growing. Once it gets to be about a foot tall, I'll lop off the top 3 inches of just the leaves. So this is like March, April, depending on the sort of weather we've had. But so the goldenrod starts growing. Whoa, cool. My eyes are green and sorry, easily distracted. The goldenrod starts growing, in late January, early February. So you start looking for it there, starts growing. Once it gets a foot tall, like I said, probably around April or so, you take off the top 3 inches and just let it go. Take those leaves, because like I said, the leaves are what I really like for both medicine and food. But what happens then, after you've snipped the stem, it produces 3 to 5 new stalks. And so instead of just forming one stalk, it's now producing 3 to 5. And you can just let those grow. And this time of year, all of them will have produced flowers. Usually, though, because I'm growing the goldenrod in a spot in my yard, I'll take 2 of those and leave, usually the other 3 still growing. So I can get multiple harvests of the leaves before the plant ever produces flower. But in doing so, I'm forcing it to split and spread, to put out new shoots and bushy up. And so I'm actually increasing the number of flowers in the long run. So, okay, give me a second here. Okay, so yeah, basically after a foot's worth of growth, you can take off the top 3 inches and you're good to go. Okay, Karen asking, is there a toxic lookalike? Not if you pay attention to details. There is an edible lookalike called horseweed. You can see it on the Foraging Texas website. Horseweed, for parts of its growth, it has a single stalk. The single stalk is very hairy. It has leaves that have very sharp teeth on it, but they're long. So if you just match the structural details, you'll be fine. There's really nothing that looks like it. And every time I say that, I'm always amazed at how far out of the way people will go to convince themselves that plant A is plant B. So, okay. So generally there are no toxic lookalikes. And if you want, you can wait until it flowers to be absolutely sure, because there's nothing that looks like that, like the flower. And then you can just collect the seeds and plant them in a place. and call it good. Okay. And then Sherry is asking, would it be okay to take the leaves from the plant now? Frankly, I wouldn't. At this stage, the leaves are old. A lot of the machinery, the chemical producing, compound producing machinery in the leaves is broken down. And so it's not producing the huge plethora of compounds that it normally would as it's younger. So that's a perfect segue, actually, Sherry. So the goldenrod, it is technically an annual. A stalk only grows 1 year, but like I said, it starts growing in late January, like in the Houston area, late January, and grows into November when it's finally done, going through the seeds and everything. So it spends a lot of time through multiple seasons where it has to defend itself. And if you can't run, you have to fight. And the way plants fight are producing all sorts of compounds to try and, convince bugs and deer and whatnot that, don't eat this. Like the bristly hairs on the leaves, it is believed that the deer don't like that. And so deer are less likely to eat goldenrod than other things just because they don't like the rough texture on their tongue. How true that is or not, I there's no science behind it. Mainly just observations of naturalists and deer hunters and things like that. But the goldenrod, because it has such a long growing period throughout the year, it is very, very, very rich in all sorts of different chemicals. Let me just throw up the goldenrod chemicals here. And this is just a shortened list. And okay, Ian, I have not gotten to the uses yet. I just finished talking about identification, mimics, when to find it, and how to use it. So let's stick that with that. I'll be talking about tinctures and medicinal uses in a little bit, so just hold on. We'll get to that. That's probably the main part of tonight's show. But I put up a list of chemicals there. So all these different chemicals are in there, and all of them have different purposes. But another thing that has different purposes is my sponsors. So if I could just take a second, stop screen share, and bring up my next set of sponsors, because, hey, someone has to, help out with this. So share. Okay. Where is it? Well, okay, let's jump to Campcraft Outdoors. Nabbit. Okay, so Campcraft Outdoors, you've heard me talk about them, hopefully, if you've been here before. They are makers, U.S. manufacturers of heavy, I should say, very strong bushcraft gear. Bushcraft is like traditional woodcraft, the sort of mountain men sort of thing that was going on 150 years ago. And so along with really amazing bags and some wool clothing and so forth, I got to put a shout out, load more. So not only do they have all sorts of really nice waxed canvas packs that will not be destroyed when you're off the trail, but they also have started supplying some really cool custom knives. Store, Outcraft Tools. And so I just got to put a shout out. Oops, load more. Where is actually? Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're already out of this. So this was their Vagabond knife, and it's a small knife. So, it fits around the neck as a neck knife. Carbon steel blade. So this is not a knife for beginners. And already I realize I need to repolish it. But yeah, carbon steel. So super, super razor sharp. And then if you use the Foraging Texas coupon code, did I put them up? Oh yeah, I put it up there. Okay. Yeah, you get 15% off. And then the other one, of course, is the Wazoo Survival Foraging Bandana. Where did my bandana go? Under all this paperwork. Yeah. So definitely check it out. The Wazoo Survival, special shout out for them because they are the ones that pay for the StreamYard account that I am using to do these shows. So by paying for them, you are helping keeping this show, or buying stuff from them helps keep this show on the air. So very cool. That did that go through? Okay. So excellent sponsors. Check them out. Use the coupon codes. Get really, really awesome stuff from them. Okay, so let's jump in. Oh, I want to throw one other thing out here, and that is, so when it comes to goldenrod, and of course everything's going to go, green screen again. But when it comes to goldenrod, there are 77 species in the Solidago family, or Solidago genus. That is the genus in which the goldenrod is. 77 across North America, 25 species in Texas. So there is going to be some variation in height and size, but overall, the structural features that I described a little bit ago are going to apply to all of them. But the other nice thing is pretty much all the Solidago have the medicinal properties. So let's jump into that. Let's talk about the medicinal properties, and then if we have time at the end, we'll jump into the food, because there's a lot more medicinal properties than food properties. Because, like I said, we have all these different chemicals in there. We have the flavonoids in particular, are probably the most important ones. So let's start with Germany, and because the German Herbal Council has a lot of science on it. And so one of the main powers, according to the German Scientific Herbal Commission, in this case, it's the flavonoids are the main molecules responsible for this, but it is their go-to herb recommendation for strengthening veins, capillaries, and other tissues that hold fluid. So strengthening veins, capillaries, and other fluid holding tissues. And this is from the leaves and the flowers. Like I said, I prefer using the flowers. Sorry, I prefer using the leaves and leaving the flowers for the bees. So, oh wow, let's, you know what? Let's just turn that off. Okay. So we're going to leave the green screen off. So this is the goldenrod. This is this year's. So this is the dried leaves. I let it hang dry, stripped it off the stems, and then crushed it up into approximately tea-sized pieces. So with that, I can then make the tea. But I also have some goldenrod tincture here that's been going on. Just about ready to strain this out. Using, if you're wondering how how specifically to make the tincture, jump back to episode 80 of Merriwether's World, and that will cover all the, it was the tincturing episode, how to make tinctures from fresh plants and green, and dried plants and all that. So check that out. But yeah, so strengthening blood vessels, capillaries, and other fluid holding tissues. So a prime example of this is varicose veins. The problem with varicose veins is the veins and capillaries have become leaky. And so the blood is oozing out some and collecting around the veins and taking a long time to be broken down and removed. And so it leads to painful swollen veins. So according to the German Botanical Herbal Science Council, treatment basically daily dose of the goldenrod over the course of a year will it will strengthen the veins and capillaries, which will stop the oozing of the blood. So give the body a chance to reabsorb the blood and get rid of the varicose veins. Now, depending on the severity, it can take more than a year, but a big part of that is the reabsorption of the blood. The toughening up the blood vessels and the capillaries happens pretty quickly, but getting rid of the blood that already oozed out is the slow part there. Okay, so you may have noticed I'm saying, the blood vessels, capillaries, and other fluid holding tissues. So what other fluid holding tissues are there? Well, there's your sinuses. So normally your sinuses are holding in fluid until such a time when you have an allergy or a cold or something that causes your nose to run. So when your nose is running, it's actually purposely doing that to try and flush irritants and stuff out of the sinuses. But most people really don't like having a runny nose. And so goldenrod tea or tincture will help with that. Basically one of the other powers, and as we talk about it, is goldenrod is pretty good with allergy relief, which is ironic considering how many people blame it for their allergies. So be it. So sinuses, drippy, drainy sinuses, fluid holding tissue. Some people ask about like leaky bowel syndrome, and it does not help with that. In that case, it is sphincters and valves basically along the digestive tract that are not functioning as well as they should. And unfortunately, the goldenrod doesn't help with that. Now, the last fluid holding tissue is, so the male erectile tissue. So to bring about the goldenrod requires fluid to hold, or tissue to hold fluid under pressure. And if the tissue is no longer holding the pressure it needs to attain the erectus, required, desired, you got problems. But the goldenrod has been shown to help with that and help, re-knit the tissues needed to fill with high pressure fluid to achieve proper rod of gold, if you will. Okay. So we got that going for us. So goldenrod basically keeps the fluid where the fluid needs to be. All right, now let's go into a little more here. And first up, so I want to talk about some different herbal books. Okay, so probably my favorite herbal medicine book is Gadsman's Zendary's Herbal Vad Mecum, which basically it's like herbs, all of them. So like it says here, over 800 herbs, spices, essential oils, blah, blah, blah. And what I really like about it, if you can see it here, so goldenrod is, he lists the different chemicals in there. So according to him, and I put the link up here, so the properties of goldenrod, it is a diuretic, so it makes you pee, anti-inflammatory, mild antispasmodic. When herbal medicine books talk about mild or antispasmodics, generally what they are talking about are muscle spasms. Think like cramps and your back just suddenly going, twisting up on you, things like that. Not like a grand mal seizure or other sorts of brain type seizures. So when we're talking antispasmodic, we are talking muscle spasms. Antibacterial. That was one of the things. So in some previous lectures, episodes of Merriwether's World, I was kind of downplaying the antibiotic properties of goldenrod just because there are a number of really excellent antibiotic properties. But as I was preparing for tonight's show, I started looking deeper into some of the scientific journals about goldenrod's antibacterial properties, and it's actually quite potent. So yay, antibiotic. Antifungal is a plant, especially a plant that is trying to live through the wet seasons and the dry seasons and all that. It needs, I knocked something on the floor. It needs antifungal protection because fungus is actually one of the main things that attacks plants. Okay, it is an astringent, and that astringent properties, so drying properties, that is what comes into play with the toughening up of the blood vessels, the sinuses, and the goldenrod. Okay, immunomodulant. So one of the other really great properties, and I should say, along with the chemical constitutes, this book also gives links to the scientific articles that support his arguments or his talking about things. So the immunomodulant. So basically that means it keeps your immune system focused on the task and raising it up if needed and dropping it down some if it feels like things are getting out of control. So very useful for the autoimmune diseases, especially in conjunction with the anti-inflammatory. So it can help there. But yes, Kelly, anti-inflammatory. Okay, to continue. Oh, actually, immunomodulant was the last one. So that's what we get from Gazmed. Now, because, actually, then he goes on. So how to use it. The leaves and stems used as a tea. So he's good. He doesn't tell you to go use the flowers. But it's the leaves and stems. So diuretic, anti-inflammatory, particularly good for genitourinary type tract inflammations, respiratory inflammations, and gastrointestinal inflammations. Also, because it is a diuretic, makes you pee a lot. So things that require you to pee a lot, like passing a kidney stone, useful there. It will help a little bit from the anti-inflammatory, help just a little bit with the pain, but not much. But any sort of kidney infection, bladder infection, especially if it's bacterial, the goldenrod, because it's antibacterial and because it is a diuretic, makes you pee a lot, that helps flush out the infection in the kidneys and in the bladder. And then reduce symptoms of cold. So it's good, especially the hot tea. The tincture works also for these, but in most of these cases, it is a hot tea, especially for the cold relief, congestion and things like that. The leaf poultice. So if you take the leaves, mash them up, crush them up, and apply them to a wound, they have been shown to speed up the healing of burns, boils, and infected wounds. So the antibacterial properties help kill the infection of an infected wound, but then there are other compounds in there that seem to speed up the healing. Now, when we're talking about burns, let's keep it at the first degree burns, the red skin. And the second degree, if someone has third degree burns, you don't want to go rub goldenrod all over them, okay? So first degrees, definitely. Second degree, try not to pop any blisters or anything like that, but definitely go with that. Okay, so that is the first one I want to talk. Now we pull out Dr. James Duke, and this is another great book. And somebody put up a thing here. Okay, so the Green Pharmacy Herbal Handbook. And let's see, I got the page marked here also. So where he doesn't so much go into the chemistry, he does a little bit, but being a doctor, and this guy's been around for a while, and in case this name looks familiar, James A. Duke, PhD. He's also one of the authors of the Peterson's Field Guide, which are some of the best books out there on plants. So he was tapped to write the Peterson's Field Guide to medicinal plants. So anyway, so according to the Green Pharmacy, James A. Duke, he mainly focuses on the diuretic powers, so the bladder stones, inflammation, kidney stones, urinary tract infections, and water retention. So basically things that help when you pee a lot, trying to get that stuff out of there, and then a little bit of the antibacterial. What I do like about this book, though, is unlike the Herbal Vademecum, Dr. Duke actually goes into dosage options and then also any precautions you need to know. So very useful there. So that's why I found one herbal book isn't enough, because different herbalists will have different experiences and focus on different parts of the plant or different uses of the plants. And some, will go into where it works, and some will go into where it works and where it doesn't work. And more importantly, what you have to look out for, things that can interfere, or it can interfere with things. So that's why I'm throwing these books out here, so you get the whole picture, because that's really important. Okay. So, but yeah, and I put it up there, but again, like I said, Dr. Duke, he looks at mainly, again, the leaf tea. So making a tea out of it. Tincture works the same way though. But again, as a diuretic and for flushing out the kidneys, bladders, and urinary tract infections. So yay that. That's his focus. Now, I absolutely love this next guy because, Kimberlyn, is the goldenrod in the blood pressure pill? No, it's not. There are some other really great herbs that'll be in that. It is, however, in the male libido pill. So go figure. Okay, so next one, and I want to talk about, so Southwest Botanical Plants by John Slattery. And what I love about him is he is what's called a bioregional herbalist. So yes, he knows all the uses of all the plants, but what he likes to teach is how to use the plants in your area to take care of a lot of the issues that may come up. And since his area is the Southwest, this book is really, really, really good for Texas. So the John Slattery's Southwest Medicinal Plants. And so he goes in, and one of the things I like about this is he also includes the root. So did I mark the page? Oh, I didn't mark the page in it. Oh, there it is. Whoops. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Okay. So goldenrod, multiple pictures. He gives good information, like how, where, when to wildcraft, medicinal use. It's hard to. Medicinal uses, cautions, future harvests, and then the herb tea and the tincture, things like that. So really useful, again, for actually putting these plants into use, especially plants you'll find in Texas. So even a lot of these are found in the Southeast Texas. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So really good on how to identify and use them. He doesn't go as much into the chemistry, but he does, again, bring up the uses. And in his case, so he's going with the stem. So he'll chop up the stems and use the dried stems too. And the root to make a tea that is anti-inflammatory, especially after kidney stones, And then daily during allergy, he's a big proponent of using goldenrod to help with the symptoms of allergies. And talking to people that I'm knocking on wood, I've yet to find anything that I'm really truly allergic to. Knocking on wood, because that's what scientists do when they to avoid jinxing themselves. But yeah, the he's a huge proponent of it for allergies, including cedar allergy and ragweed allergy. So give it a try, ragweed tea. Going back to the whole blood vessel strengthening sort of thing, one of the ways I'd take it, the dried leaves, is I would put a small scoop of it, mix it in with my coffee grounds with my coffee every morning. Because at 6'5", it takes a lot of pressure to get that blood down and back up. And I was starting to develop the varicose veins. And this has really done a great job with that. Okay. Back to John Slattery. So, like I said, he includes the root in it that the others have not. But allergy season daily aids digestion, promotes appetite. That is some of the tannins in it, the bitter compounds. Helps stimulate the gallbladder and spleen to produce the stomach acid, which then aids in digestion. But then reduces symptoms of colds, coughs, flu, also as a fever breaker. Now, I'm the type that, normally I'll let a fever do its fever thing because the fever is there to help you. It's just when it gets really high. If the fever is up around 106, creeping upwards yet, at that point, a cold, like an iced tea made from goldenrod, may be of benefit for the patient to help bring that fever down a bit there, maybe even convince the body, okay, let's try something else. So, but yeah, just to help keep the fever within healthy levels, if that makes sense. Okay. And like Dr. Duke, John Slattery also recommends the poultice like Gasmed, the poultice to help speed the healing of wounds and prevent infections there. So really, really good plant there. Useful as a tea and as a tincture. And wow, it's 8:52. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to take a sip of water. Okay, so medicinal uses to recap. The leaves and the flowers all have the same properties, but the main thing, just use the leaves because you can get multiple harvests of the leaves done properly throughout the year. And by doing so, you increase the number of flowers for the bees and you leave the flowers for the bees. The uses are the diuretic power to flush out the urinary tract, antibiotic, anti-inflammatory, and then also the strengthening of fluid holding tissues so that they can hold in the blood, the sinus drainage, or the rod of gold as necessary. Good stuff there. Quick talk about the flavor. The flavor can vary from species to species somewhat, not as much. I've tasted a lot of them, and I still mainly, when I taste it, I mainly get a licorice flavor, a black licorice flavor, which I absolutely love because I'm a big fan of black licorice. Now, other people will taste the same plant that I just tasted and get different flavors from it. Some have described it as a ginger, some have described it as spicy, like allspice sort of thing, almost a cinnamon sort of thing. What's going on is, so there's all these compounds in the leaves, and everyone's tongue is different. Like those of you in the class, you've heard me say this story over and over. Potato chips. Potato chips, the flavor of potato chips is made from 4 different molecules. If you put those 4 molecules on a piece of paper, blindfold a person, hand them the piece of paper, and they eat it, they will go, potato chip. Now, so everyone, hopefully everyone out there, when I say potato chip, you get an image in your mind of what a potato chip tastes like. Now, each one of you, though, is focusing on different the primary molecule and the secondary molecules are going to be different from each one of you. Some of you will, focus on A. Some of you will mainly focus on B, C, and varying things. So, but there's this cultural agreement of what a potato chip tastes like. In the wild foods, and again, I've said this over and over, but I'm saying it again, it becomes difficult to describe the flavor of a lot of wild foods, especially ones as rich in a variety of molecules as goldenrod, because each one of you is going to zero in on a different molecule with a very different taste and flavor profile. So even though, all of you tasted the same plant, pick the leaves from the same plant, you're all going to have different impressions of the flavor. So as far as using the leaves, the fresh leaves, I like using them in stir fries to give kind of an Asian flair to things. That's my take, my taste with them. And I'll throw them everything from scrambled eggs to stir fries, or I've even thrown them on some sandwiches and things like that, just to give kind of a black licorice allspice sort of flavor to it. Okay. Karen, no, the author is John Slattery. Slattery. So medicinal plants, Southwest medicinal plants. John Slattery. And just a great guy. Back when I had the bike crash and all the concussions and everything, he sent me a big, huge herbal care package. So absolutely love the man. Okay. I got 2 more sponsors I need to throw up here. So, okay. So don't go away, Kat. You got to stay here because we got sponsors. So let's bring this back up. So, of course, Arbor True. Oops, let me get the link there. Especially, man, what are we? 4 hurricanes hit Louisiana this summer so far. I don't know what they do when they run, because we hit with Zeta. They were saying like over 1.5 million people are without power again. Anyway, so Arbor True, best arborists in my opinion that I know of, basically across the Gulf Coast region and Texas in general. If you are worried about some trees coming down on your house in these storms we've been having, give them a call. Not only will they prune your trees, if you have a sick tree, they will diagnose it. They have a fully functioning analysis lab to zero in on the specific fungus or bacteria or whatever is attacking your tree, and will come up with the best cure available for it. So really, really, really good people. And then, and I see some questions, so I'm going to answer those questions in a minute. So Fear and Dread, since we're talking about surviving things, the Fear and Dread store located over in Vidor, Texas. So this is a small Texas company. They have a great selection in all sorts of survival gear, camping and urban type stuff. Also, of course, firearms, ammo, things like that. If you use the code Merriwether, you get 5% off a purchases of $100 or more. So really, really, really good there. So check them out. Follow the link here. Okay. Let me pull this up here. Okay. I saw someone ask for the link again to John Slattery's book. So here is that. And then, did it go up? Hopefully it went up. Okay. So Karen, here is the link to the book. Okay, Kat asking, how does it taste in your coffee? I like the flavor. Like I said, it has kind of, I think the Goldenrod goes well with the flavors in the coffee. I like it better than the Sage. I drink the Sage back before the brain pill was available, but I drank the Sage just to help stay focused on things. The flavor was okay, The goldenrod, I actually enjoy the flavor of the goldenrod in the coffee. Okay. Also, Karen, does your company have a pill for type 2 diabetes? Not yet. That is on the list. I have something formulated for that I'm really excited about, but that's going to be probably third quarter next year before we can come out with that. So, because as we sell the stuff, the money goes back into the research and getting the next stuff formulated. So we only had enough money to start the business by coming out with the 4 pills: the liver pill, the brain pill, the immune pill, and the libido pill. And then as those are sold, we will be coming out with the blood pressure pill. And then after that, most likely will be the anxiety pill. And then after that, the kidney stone pill. And then hopefully sometime in there also an immune pill for people with autoimmune diseases. But we're working on that. That one's tough. That one's tough. Okay. BJ, the goldenrod root. So that is recommended by John Slattery to use the same way and for the same uses as the leaves and stem. But of course, if you dig up the root, the root kind of stays year after year after year and puts up new shoots. And so if you dig up the root, you are going to reduce the amount of goldenrod you get the following year. So I recommend leaving the root in the ground unless you have a lot of the goldenrod available. Okay. Sandra, does the brain pill help with ADHD? So the brain pill, the specific formulation, the mixture of lion's mane, sage, and ginkgo leaf, our formulation has not been tested against ADHD, so I cannot make any claims for or against its help in that manner without having the FDA come down on me like a ton of bricks. So the brain pill has not been tested, and so we cannot claim that it helps in that situation. That being said, there is a lot of research showing that in particular the lion's mane and to a lesser extent the sage, those plants themselves have been tested, and those plants have shown to benefit the ADHD. But these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases. So, disclaimer. Got to keep the government happy. Okay. Karen, same sort of thing. The burdock root itself, there's a lot of studies showing, yes, the burdock root helps with fatty liver. The liver pill has not been specifically tested, undergone the specific tests that the FDA requires so that we can make the statement. So I can say there is research that supports burdock root in general, but the liver pill, I cannot make that claim for it. And so the same sort of disclaimers. So, and that's the world we live in. Okay. Oops, my finger slipped. Okay, at this point, it is after 9. I'm sure you all got better things to do now. I gotta go and get supper ready for the family. Wife and daughter will be home soon. So that's coming up. Oh, wait. Okay, okay, Ian, what helped with anxiety? So one of the really cool things, let's go here. Okay. So anxiety, so I'm up in the upper left-hand corner of Foraging Texas. There's a little search term there. And if you type in anxiety, which I did, it brings up a bunch of different plants that have shown to have anti-anxiety type powers. So you can scroll through that. So Ian, my recommendation is jump over to Foraging Texas, type in anxiety or anti-anxiety into the search box, and see what you comes up and see what you might have available there. Okay. Wow. I'm hoping the fact that overall there weren't that many questions, that it's because of fascination with the subject rather than everyone left. Okay. Yes. And Sandra, the Medicine Man products, they have been formulated so that you can, take them together without any interactions or anything like that. So yes, the liver pill and the brain pill. In fact, we actually, because it's such a popular bundle, or that if you go to the Amazon store, I'm going so late here, www.amazon.com/medicine man, did I spell that right? Plant Co. And I'll bring that up here. We actually have some things pre-bundled. So if I bring this back up here. So you can actually save money. Oops. So we have the teacher-student bundle, which is the brain and immune system, especially right now. And then what I call it the zombie special, or things like that, but the liver brain combo. So the warrior bundle, having the powerful liver and the powerful brain. Whoop. Okay. Yeah, currently unavailable. Talk to me after class. Okay. So, all right. At this point, please let me go. I'm begging you. All right, people. Like I said, swing by again, the donut shop at the beginning of the world tomorrow morning. Usually starts sometime a little before 7:30, runs until 8. It's a basic coffee clutch sort of thing where we throw out topics and talk about random stuff. Same place here, same Facebook and YouTube channel. It's just a gathering of people trying to hang together in a world gone crazy. So check that out. If you are feeling socially distant, we welcome everyone with all sorts of hugs and fart noises, I guess. Sure, that'll work. Okay. Thank you. Episode 82 is done. You can still go back and see what you missed. It's going to be available on the Facebook, Foraging Texas Facebook page. Scroll down to videos, or of course on the YouTube channel, and check it out there. So otherwise, I'm going to go eat some food, hug my family, and see you guys tomorrow morning, because I can't get enough of you. All right. Ending broadcast. Good night, people.